What up, familia? It's your favorite Puerto Rican Brooklyn Philly, back with a message, daily health check-in, where we want to sit there and ask spirit, our ancestors, our guides, to help us, look into places and spaces, particularly in our emotions and in our mind, that can help us see where we may need help or need to be calling attention to. Energetically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and even physically, right? Giving a voice to our body, right? And our emotions, and allowing for a sacred space, right? Intentionally creating that sacred space so that it can be acknowledged and validated and heard and processed, right? So without further ado, we're just going to dive in to see what is our body, minds, hearts, and soul trying to convey to us at this very moment. Please and thank you, Spirit. Chop wood. Number 42, which adds to a 6. I'm thinking about forward movement. I just saw this card for the first time as the witch's broom. I know it doesn't say clean it up, but it reminds me also about a card in this deck called Clean It Up. But I know that this is a reference to an understanding that even though you are awakening or have become enlightened about, or in any area of your life, it still does not say that then there's no other work to do, right? That is what I'm hearing is not there. There isn't an end point to this journey, right? And it is not about the destination. It is about the actual journey. And then the card, the fates come out. So now if I'm thinking of it from that perspective, that this journey of yours is fated, right? It's aligned with the stars, right? And I think of your astrology chart in particular, like everything, I'm thinking of a seed, right? Like an oak tree, let's say. You come already, I just heard pre-packaged, pre-built with everything that you need, right? There's nothing missing or nothing lacking. There's an unveiling of sorts that's occurring throughout the journey, rediscovering, I'm hearing. I'm also thinking about and this came out in the other health check-in about how, a woman comes by the time she enters the world, right? By the time the female child is born, it has already all the eggs that she will ever produce. There's something about you're being completely whole. So maybe some of us are feeling not whole, not complete. Maybe that's what our bodies are telling us that we constantly need to be doing something, and that's what it's wanting us to become aware of. There's something about the witch's broom, right? On the witch's broom, we see that it is used to fly, it is used to clean. I'm thinking of La Madama now, spirit, and how, confirmation, that was, they want me to speak about that, and how it is believed, she is a keeper of homes and families, protector of women and children, and households in general, right? Wanting the household to just run at tip-top shape, and that no negative energies or energies that come to do the family any harm cross the threshold I just had. And if they do, because you allowed them, right, you gave them permission, she utilizes the broom to cleanse them out from the home. And the ability to fly, there's something about moving through portals, moving through... so now I'm even seeing the, interesting, the portals within our body, right? The veins. I just heard cardiovascular system, the systems, and transporting from one to the other. And imagine is the card. Several came out, but I'm not. They say no, they want them. Observer and message in a bottle. Interesting. See, my Motown background, right? Cultural raised self. Every time I see message in a bottle, baby, send for me. I'm just a telephone call away. So maybe about asking for help, about, but I'm hearing now both being able to ask for that help, but then believing that it will come as well, right? Even if it is, right? If it has to get to you through like some bird and you know, and you're stuck on, the message is going to come through. This observer card is coming through very different today as the other day. Again, this observer is watching the stars, right? And these look very similar in color, that is. I mean, in these fates are looking through the stars, right? Fates were like oracles. That could see things, right? Had premonitions or could declare omens, imagine, right? So there's something about the imagination. Running wild. It'll make sense. Right now it feels all a little scattered, but I trust Spirit always too. And this card came out as well before, regeneration. Regeneration, all of this is a part of a regeneration process. Currently, you know, we are about to wrap up the 12-12 portal, right? From 12-12 to 12-21. Of course, there would be, you know, some shadow aspect of it lingering a couple days after. So I'm hearing the magic is potent at this time to utilize it. So I'm hearing, and then it's a 10, 6, and 4 is 10 for many of you. And they're saying, yes, this is the truth, what I'm about to say. This is finally, yeah, I thought of the Madama and her cleansing house, finally cleansing something, right? And now when I'm thinking of the regeneration, I'm thinking the regeneration of one's soul, right? And when I opened up with talking about and asking, well, what does our soul, mind, body, and spirit want to tell, you know, our mental, our emotional, want to reveal to us, tell us, you know, show us. If there's an ache and pain, or, you know, what is it referencing? Is there a blockage? Is, you know, whatever. Are we feeling sad and not acknowledging? Are we anxious? Whatever they may be. But there is this something about, because now I'm getting that it's an internal and external regeneration, right? So although I see this tree and it's at the root, right? So I'm here finally getting to the bottom of some things to allow them to truly be cleaned up. I mean, I know the saying says chop wood, but, well, no. If this is a tree and it gets chopped down, that's chopping wood, right? And it's, yes, yes. But it is not for naught. It isn't for destruction. It's meant for what it says, regeneration, right? Very similar, because now that fire under, I'm sorry, I just heard the fire in the belly. That fire is a representative of, I'm hearing the phoenix, right? Or the caterpillar. If you don't want to believe in mythology, the caterpillar, how it goes into this chrysalis stage, this cocoon, excuse me, yes, confirmation, and it totally liquefies itself. Like, I mean, it's totally liquefies itself. Like, it just disintegrates, all right? And then is reborn this butterfly. And I'm hearing, for those of you who believe in the Madama spirit, she is definitely here helping you do that. She is definitely here helping you do that. For those of you who don't, that's okay. These will be your ancestors, your guides, whatever you reference. And it is fated. And then for some of you, I'm hearing there are some fates that are also assisting in this process. There's something about your astrological chart again that it is referencing, for some of you, it is asking you. You will get more answers at this time if you would just look through your astrological chart. And I know that that's, well, for me, it hasn't been easy. I even have the book here, Astrology for Dummies. I'm trying to figure that out. And I don't necessarily, have someone, anyway. But there's importance about when you were born, right? The sky. If we're looking at the sky as a prophecy now, I'm hearing, as oracle, as a message provided by the oracles. Look to the stars, look to the sky, and what it looked like when you were born. And when I think of imagine, I think of a child, right? A child is able to tap into their imagination. So there is this, again, I just, looking at this, I'm thinking of a portal, a realm, right? There is this figure, if you can see it in the center, almost looking like the hermit, right? But cloaked with the staff, looking out into, I'm hearing another realm. And I just heard a Kanye. I just got in my Benz, my other Benz, right there, and I'm hearing like the other Benz as the Benz here, the Benz in that universe, the Benz in that universe, like the same Benz but in different multiverses, right? I'm thinking of the multiverse, and it's I just got chills in it. So again, this being the center card between these two is about this cleansing that is faded, that is this regeneration during this portal is requiring you to remain vigilant and observant of maybe the astrology even more moving forward, because there would be messages being sent, right? This bird is bringing that down. And this card looks very much like this card. So there is something significant about the messages that drop down when you're in this realm looking throughout the other realms. For some of you, I'm literally hearing now astral travel, dream states, and again, there's something about you being able to receive the messages, but also give them, send them. So maybe that is another thing your body is asking you to, if you become this observer, you have to be. And even in this Imagine card, there is this person standing by themselves. There's something about maybe, and I was reminded of the hermit, right? So maybe there's something about hermiting or taking time periods to hermit. And then which is interesting because that's a 20, which would be a 2 for me, which would talk about 2, right? Unity of some sort. But maybe it is the unity within self and consciousness, right? Divinity. And it would be necessary for you to be able to truly be quiet or sit quiet enough to observe. And, this figure is sitting on top of an egg, which is normally when we think of someone, or, an animal sitting on top of an egg, is I just heard this, they're hatchling. It's they're waiting for this egg to hatch. And in this waiting, they're being observant. So I just heard although this waiting process felt this egg just sitting, it's not moving, it's not cracking, there is something going on in these other realms by these other entities assisting you as well. Your higher self, your inner child, your angels, your guides, your ancestors, divinity. So although it looks like it's, you want to I just heard somebody grab the egg and shake it. Are you in there? Same thing, you know what I mean? Yes, stuff, it's this regeneration card all over again. You can see the tree, but you can't see all that's happening under the tree. You can see the cocoon of the caterpillar, but you can't see the process. You can see the bump of the belly on the pregnant woman. My throat just wanted to lock up. And this is a lot of blue, right? For the throat chakra. I just heard the pause was, I heard the song I Can Only Imagine. It's a gospel song. That with the tree again, the seed was under the soil. You couldn't see the growth yet, but it was grown. So that there is something going on in the background. And, while you're waiting, while it may feel uncomfortable to your body or to your emotions, while it may feel like confirmation, yes, and doubt and fear wants to rise up, because it's like, why isn't anything happening for me? What is going on? Everybody else's eggs are cracking. Now I'm seeing those child eggs that they get, and it's a surprise, and it's like everybody else got to open up their egg. Their parents let them. I don't know why, but I can't. I have to wait till Christmas. Interesting. So there may be something about it culminating on the 25th. For some. But there's also this really strong message of, in this stillness, what is required of you is to remain vigilant. I keep wanting to say observant, but it keeps referring me to vigilant, which is interesting because then I think of a vigilante. Because the beautiful accent. Vigilante. A vigilant is a person who takes the law into their own hands to prevent, investigative, or punish crimes without legal authority. To prevent, investigate, or punish crimes without legal authority. Interesting. Vigilantes are often motivated by a desire to avenge a perceived injustice or harm. They may use actual or threatened force and are distinguished from people who report criminal behavior to the police. Vigilantes often join together to form groups. The term vigilante comes from the word vigilant, which means keeping a watchful or close eye on events and people. Now, I'm not in any way suggesting, I don't think spirit is, that someone goes out and becomes a vigilante. I keep wanting to say it like that, a vigilante. Let's see. Vigilante. Oh, vigilante. A member of a self-appointed group of citizens who undertake law enforcement in their community without legal authority, typically because the legal agencies are thought to be inadequate. I just got sick in my stomach because when I just read that, I thought of the incident with that gentleman that did that. And I think this is just my own Trayvon Martin in 2012. Interesting. I got excited because 2012, right? 12/12. I know it's not 12/12, but there was just something about that 12. So when I just read that, I got sick to my stomach because that's what that man did. He took, and it wasn't even law. The young man was, so that's, okay, Spirit, thank you. The Spirit said it wasn't the same. That's when it is. I don't know. Because now I'm hearing it's Batman type stuff. Right? The vigilante's role is to cause justice, not injustice. That was an injustice. Again, I want to cry. I'm getting emotional about that. Tragedy, right? For that young man, for his family, for our community. But then as I read on, typically because the legal agencies are thought to be inadequate, I was then shifted into more of a Malcolm X. And the scene in the Malcolm X movie where Denzel Washington was called by the community to go and see about the brother who was arrested in the community. And although he was not Muslim, they, put him to the test, so to speak. They said to him, y'all talk a lot, but you don't do it. You don't back up what you talk, right? So referencing that, he would stand on sidewalks and give his message, but they didn't see any action, right? Which they were unaware of or saw that action of how he was moving to different communities and going to different places and doing a lot of that active work in different ways. But they meant at that time physically in that community about something as personal as the brother that had been beaten and taken into custody that evening. And he goes to the precinct and demands that the brother be seen. And I don't know why I'm stuttering now because I know, but the part that I don't know, I just heard takes over my soul because it does. I don't know if others, I'm sure they do. I mean, I think that's why, movie and cinema and books and, the authors and directors and producers know how to sequence things, to bring things to climax, to pull out certain feelings about people. I don't know why this is becoming relevant, but during that scene, my body just lights up on so many different levels. I'm elated with the power and the justice that scene exudes. enthralled and even can I say this? Turned on by his ability to stand 10 toes down in what he believes and defend it so vehemently, yet so controlled, I don't know, appropriately against this power that was very scary and very brutal. Um, but the way he controlled, right? And I don't see, and they're saying don't use the word control because there's a difference in leadership, right? If and this is not for all police officers or any of these groups, but there's one type of leadership would be tyrannical, where you would demand, right, and gain control through brutality and force. Malcolm did no such a thing. You know, I mean, what he did was raise a finger and then point, and everybody on cue. And even just saying that and making that gesture, my whole body just lit up. There's something about justice. There's something, yeah, the body viscerally telling you there's a regeneration, there is a cleansing at this time. It has been fated for this specific time and space. You know, even if you think of the planets, the interplanet, you know, some say we have been in a certain planet, I think it's Mars or something, for like 18 years for some this cycle. There is something about an injustice, even I'm hearing, done to your body, that your body still feels viscerally, that an energy that you've been carrying even up, I mean, for a very long time. And there's something about a regeneration, a cleansing of it, and it's faded. And although you may have thought it was just sitting there and nothing is happening and nothing, you know, is moving, it has been. This has been this hermiting stage of sorts because it needed to, I don't know, travel these dimensions, go through this process of actually feeling things, you know, the process that the caterpillar, who says, I'm sure the caterpillar says, why do I have to liquidate? Like, why do I have to do that to get to be this caterpillar, right? Why, the baby might ask, why do I have to stay in this womb 10 months in order to be born? You know, the seed might say, why do I have to stay underground in this darkness, not you know, seeing any sunlight or anything for such a long time before I can sprout out? But there is something about the process, right? And I said that in the beginning. It was, you know, this check-ins is about not only tapping in to see what is going on with us, either mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, in our soul, but it is to acknowledge it, to validate it, to give it sacred space so that we can process it. There's something about the process, right? There's value in the process, right? Earlier I mentioned about chopped wood. They're saying, you know, it's something about, you know, some Asian Zen master or some or figure that said, you know, when you awaken, you know, chop wood and carry water. You still do the mundane, the everyday things. It doesn't mean like you now suddenly awaken and now you're you know, just sitting in Zen position in a Zenful meditation state the rest of your life. No, there's work to be done, right? Like Malcolm, right? He went to jail. You know, he experienced his life, went to jail. And Ashe, brother Malcolm. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for the legacy and the example that you have left us. I got emotionally just now because I too, again, feel, you know, the injustice of being shot down so tragically in front of his children and his wife, and murdered in that manner for wanting to bring justice to an unjust world, wanting to raise issue, right? It's almost like I'm hearing your body. That's what your body is doing for you. That's why you're feeling what you're feeling. And, you know, whether it's expressing it through this anxiety, through these up and down swings, I'm hearing through maybe even pains and aches in your joints, right? They mentioned about the pathways and I heard the cardiovascular system and all the other systems connecting, right? That It is speaking of or speaking to this injustice, right? And it's demanding, right? Even if it has to become its own vigilante, I'm hearing, right? Because it's being ignored, because the legal agencies are thought to be inadequate. And not inadequate in that they don't have the skill set, but inadequate that they don't have the gumption, the courage, the compassion, the empathy, the grace, the mercy to do the right thing, to rectify the injustice. Like these law officers that was their job. They were getting paid. They were to uphold these laws for all citizens, and they weren't. That's where the inadequacy came in, not in the skill set. They were all still being trained to do the job. The issue was there was no, again, I'm hearing compassion, but I just heard when we disassociate from ourselves, I'm hearing now, and from others. Now I'm hearing cognitive dissonance. When we no longer place a name or value on a being, a human being or an animal, right? On a living organism, then it is easy. It is the only way, I'm hearing, that then it can disrespect it, murder it like nothing, violate it like nothing, abuse it, hurt it like nothing. Because you cannot hold and really believe it's humanity if and then do the cruel things that one would do, right? That we as humans do, right? Because in the animal kingdom, it's about survival. It's different, I'm hearing, right? And it's instinctual. Whereas in the human, it becomes intentional and cruel. And I'm hearing premeditated on another level. So your body, our bodies are crying out, right? And now I'm hearing this message in a bottle is, if I got to bring you the message in a bottle, right? To just talk to or speak to the extreme that it will go to. Now I'm hearing, oh God, the extreme lengths one goes to when one loves someone, right? You see it all the time in movies. I mean, again, back to Brother Malcolm. He loved his people. He loved humanity. Because after post-Mecca, Martin came back saying, wow, we are one. Alhamdulillah. There is one, the La ilaha illallah, and we are one. Now, I just heard modus operandi as to how to address the injustice may have differed in perspective from Martin and others, even after post-Mecca he came back and they were able to converse. But it wasn't very different from what other communities or ethnicities that, for example, our Jewish brothers and sisters have held, that they should have their own schools, and that they should train their generations, I'm hearing, to believe that they are a chosen people, to have an identity. And I'm hearing, if you look at the 12 points, 10 points amount, he was claiming similarly that because of the injustice and the indoctrination and what has been ingrained up to that point through 200 400 plus years of slavery, that there would first need to be a separation, an incubation process, a hermiting of sorts. Before the reintegration. And that there should be individuals like Malcolm, like Martin, like you, like me, that have already underwent that reintegration. And not that there aren't going to be more, right? Chop wood, carry water. Then it's faded is almost, not almost, I'm here, it is your responsibility. It becomes one's responsibility to then be this kind of like this vigilante, this observer, while our brothers and sisters are incubating. And allowing that sacred space. And again, I want to cry. I apologize. I'm not apologizing for being emotional on camera, but I just don't want to like break down, and because it's about the message. It's not about my emotionality at this time. But maybe what that is expressing, right, in my throat when it is just, that's part of your reintegration, or that's part of what you're going through in this, these tears, this emotionality, or feeling like they want to come out and be it, and having difficulty with that, experiencing difficulty with that. Right? There's a lot of water. Confirmation. Excuse me, yes, confirmation. There's this card and message in about, the message in a bottle could have been over an island. But I think, I believe Spirit is being very intentional with this card because of the significance of the message coming through this, like via emotions, right? Via this intuition. This intuitive state, this meditative state as well. There's this combination, right? I said about what happens in the hermiting. Right, and now I'm thinking of such tragedies of the assassinations of Kennedy, of Martin, of Malcolm, and of Trayvon. And I mean, if I start naming so many other, I can't. But there is this way where, fortunately, unfortunately, but where the community, people gather together, come together to address the injustice and to voice their angst, their pain, their frustration, their anger, their wanting to become a vigilante, because they're feeling like their messages are being bottled and not heard. Now I'm hearing. And again, Spirit is using all this reference to these external events, but I'm hearing her say, oh, but this is the purpose. One of the purposes of the 12-12-21, and couching it between 12 and 21, is having this mirroring effect, this inverse, right? This inner and outer, right? As so within, so without, so below, so above, right? And it is happening. I'm hearing stacked up on all of those planes. Hence the reference to the multiverse, right now. Right? Oh, Spirit, come through. Thank you. Hallelujah. Alhamdulillah. I'm hearing the star, right? The significance of the star, right? Last night I went to babysit my granddaughter and my grandson, and we there's this kid movie currently airing now on Netflix about a donkey, and the main character, one of the main characters, the protagonist in the story is a donkey. Okay. but it was called the Star, right? And now I'm hearing healing, right? The Star card in tarot, typically we see it, or it has been interpreted, right, as a healing. Well, one of the interpretations, right, of a promise of healing, right? Wishing on a star, desires, right? Innermost, right? Because they say wish on a star, don't tell anybody. So there's something about whatever's bottled up inside. But the three magicians, right? Oh, that's another story. Followed the star. In this movie, the star, that donkey knew there was purpose in that star when it appeared in the sky. Oh, I hear you, my rub. Oh my God, y'all. There is a point in the movie where the donkey says, no, that star just appeared. A new star just formed in the sky. So there's something about a discovering, maybe, I don't know, I'll check the news. I remember going to a conference, a speaking engagement where it was a Muslim brother was speaking, and he was referencing NASA view nova explosion, new star in northern crown, watch the skies. A star system located 3,000 light years away from Earth is predicted to become visible to the unaided eye soon. The star named JO5240336, based on its coordinates in space, was discovered recently by Ezedine as part of a different study they used surveying to look for older stars in the Milky Way. Used surveying, was that observation, right? Through, I'm sure, very powerful technology, right? Like a telescope or whatever the thing that they use. And I kept talking about astrology. So there's something about that too. There's something about it being so personal that whatever is happening currently in the cosmic world out there, right, it's aligning, and it's going to be aligning perfectly with each individual human and maybe animal astrological star system that was in place at their birth. There is something about that. So in the movie, of course, the star, they was referencing to the star that appeared for Yeshua, to pronounce the birth of Yeshua, if you are of one that believes in the Christian canon. For Isa alayhi salam, for Jesus, right? If you believe in the Quran and what it indicates about Isa alayhi salam, that this star was became visually, because that's what it says here. Not that maybe it wasn't always there, right? It gives the coordinates, but what it's saying is that it is now going to be seen by the naked eye. It's predicted to become visible to the unaided eye soon. You know what I'm hearing? And not that I can say that, that's what happened with the star with Jesus, and that's true. I'm not here to debate none of that. But this is what is being brought up, that it is, the donkey in the movie said that star just showed up. It wasn't there before, meaning he couldn't see that. And the reason why it was significant and you had to believe this donkey is because he was a mill donkey where he had to keep going round and round in this circle, and he was chained up and he couldn't go anywhere. So he didn't have any other proximity, I'm hearing, any other point to observe, very much like this picture here where this fox is just sitting on that egg and looking up just from this vantage point. So it made it it was inevitable that the donkey would notice it, because it wasn't there all those other years. He'd been going round and round in that circle looking up, because there was a hole in the fence that allowed him to see through and see outside. And it wasn't just him, right? There was a sheep. There were other people who noticed the star as well and were being guided, hence the three magi. Along with, there was a prophecy, right? That's why the three magi stopped at the king, right? And he said, listen, that prophecy cannot come to fruition. Go find this child and kill him, right? Or all the children under 2. Not just her, hence Moses and then Jesus, this mirroring effect. Because in both accounts, there's some king that is trying, that commanded, that gave an order that all these children be killed, I believe under the age of 2, to prevent the rise of such a king, because they were threatened. Malcolm, after that scene, you hear the cops say, that's too much power for one N. And he used the N word. It was too, it is said that Martin was assassinated, right? For the very reason. There was too much power. Kennedy, too much power. And how current powers, right? There was this distinction that Spirit wanted to make between leaders earlier, where one is a tyrant and one was very similar to Malcolm or a Gandhi or a Martin, where their influence became the magnet that led the people. They didn't have to force them, coerce them, beat them, abuse them, intimidate them, fearmonger them. True leadership does not require that. It's not needed. People who believe in a God of their understanding, or a God, they don't feel, well, not all. I mean, I get if you're indoctrinated differently, to believe differently, but mostly they're enamored or want to go to it because of the love that they feel and the protection from it. Wow, I just heard slow up. People believe some things. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. Suddenly my sinus, everything became just really dry. Excuse me. But there's something we are being told by our bodies, I'm hearing, and by external events of I just heard the changing of the guards and the resistance that is met when the changing of the guards occurs, right? Very similar to those kings in the Bible, or in the Injil, or the Quran, or the Torah, where that threatened the current powers, and they attempted to eliminate it. Obfuscated, I just heard. So before I move on to that, Spirit, but listen, for some, I know I'm going to look into this star Not that I would know exactly what it means, but the skies are about to get a new star as a result of a cosmic cataclysm. I'm not making this up. It will appear in the night sky about as bright as the North Star. And this was in September 16th, at the end of September. And there is a lot of activity with the aurora lights. Well, typically around this time as well. Once in a lifetime explosion will bring a new star to the night sky. Yeah, okay, I don't want to stay stuck on that, but not that it isn't important. I think it is. But yeah, I just want to. Going down that rabbit hole right now and trying to figure it out would not be conducive to this video. I believe is obfuscate, render, obscure, unclear, or unintelligible. Bewilder someone. Latin for fuscus, dark, darkened. So keep something in the dark, right? Suppress the oracle, right? Suppress the oracle within you. The messages. In a bottle, baby, just send for me. I'm just a telephone call away. Yeah, confirmation. There's something about your body saying, I'm here. I am real. I am this living organism. Let's communicate. Feel me. Take care of me. And I'm in turn taking care of you. Right? It was something about, where was that 2 card that I said is a 2? Which would mean unity. I don't know where I saw that. I apologize. Oh, the 20 in this card. The number 20. Which would then reduce to that 2. So, this oneness with self, right? This light and shadow, yin and yang, masculine, feminine, this duality that we hold within this temple of our own, this masjid, this synagogue. As well as the one that we hold with the external world around us. Because now I'm hearing there was something about, the other day I ran into, it was a patriot saint, but his sainthood was significant because he took his order of monks and required that they go into the community and serve. I apologize, brother, that I forget your name, but I'm sure if you Google it, they're saying you do. Okay. But obfuscate, right? Keeping hidden in the dark, right? Whether we're talking about keeping things repressed, right? In our subconscious, as opposed to bringing them out to the light and feeling them through. Which then would render things obscure, unclear, or unintelligible, right? You can't even make intelligible decisions with distorted or limited or obscure information. Within and without. Saint Benedict. Yep. Work according to the rule of Saint Benedict. Benedict makes the bold statement that they are truly monks when they live by the labor of their hands, as did our fathers and the apostles. By the labor, chop wood, carry water. With the Zen masters or those Asian masters, let's find out. Let's give it, because there's something about, and thank you, brother Benedict. We appreciate your legacy. Amen. And let's see, who do they attribute with saying chop wood, carry water? Zen Buddhism, meaning to focus on the simple everyday task at hand, fully present in the moment without getting caught up in the worries about the future or dwelling on the past. Essentially, to diligently perform the necessary tasks of life regardless of any grander aspirations or enlightenment sought after. I wanted to see if they gave yeah, it doesn't seem to, not what I'm seeing, briefly give credit to anyone specific. They're saying that it's been in Zen Masters books, right? So yeah, full circle. That this regeneration, you're just, for many of you, closing out now, that will be closed as of 12/21. Fully for some, remember it came out that it was 12/25 because I'm hearing the shadow, how it lingers still by 12/25 for many. Which we can say is a coincidence or not, is up to you to believe what you want to believe, but just so happens to be the day that Westerners celebrate Old Saint Nick, because that's how I came across Saint Benedict the other day. I was looking up Old Saint Nick. Which then for some refers to the birth of Jesus and attributes that a star appeared in the solar system at the time of his birth. Now, I'm not ignorant. I know that scholars, because of when the census, why they had to travel to Bethlehem, that would have not occurred in December, right? Some believe say July, August, or September, depending. There's differing opinions about it. Just like there's opinions that, it never even existed. Not the census or any of that, but Isa alayhi salam. Again, to each his own. But I do think that it's I don't find it coincidental. I see that, and yes, I just heard some saying, yeah, you foolish people would. Yup, I am one of those then that would then see this all as synchronistic, right? Anything else, Spirit? Because I think the message, and now is an hour, is very clear. Many of us are going through this regeneration or have been through this regeneration, because the 4 and the 6 are definitely, I'm hearing, are 10 now. 10 would be the culmination, right? For some, it was the 9, and the 10 is like, this is now beginning. Whichever side you sit on, right? The time is now, I'm hearing. It has been faded, and very much like the star we referenced appearing in the sky over 2000, well, now it's not 2000. I'm thinking of Muhammad, alayhi salam, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, let me leave that alone because I'm confusing my dates and I don't want to confuse anybody. But that star being significant at that time, interestingly enough, a new star just appeared for us too. But there's a significance in pointing out to us that this regeneration was very purposeful on an internal level, but also on an external level, right? Going back to Malcolm, because now I'm hearing, I jumped. Going back to Malcolm, where the incarceration was his incubation period. And then afterwards, he became, a vigilante. Well, I hate saying that and putting Malcolm in the same sentence because, that's taken out of context yet. Confirmation, yeah, and that's what people have done. So I retract that statement. I cannot say those two words because of the character assassination they have done and continue to do to him. But it caused him to be to see clearly about the injustices he was performing on himself. And you see that when he is indicating that he no longer wanted to perm his hair or drink alcohol, do drugs, run around the streets all night, steal, manipulate, and that internally was ineffective and not beneficial for him. But then it also was counterproductive to the very people he wanted to help and the communities he wanted to see built up. But that this incubation process was for the purposes of then doing the work after. Very much what St. Benedict said, very much what the Zen masters are saying. Isa alayhi salam, Jesus, Yeshua, if we read his account, whether you believe it or not, it is pointing to, if we can summarize it, another individual who saw his times as unjust to a people where the authorities were inadequate. Yeah, I'm going to get somebody mad now. Yeah, Jesus was a vigilante of sorts. He took the law into his own hands when he would go around preaching to the people, in parables. I just heard la resistance. And now I'm thinking of, what's her name? She came up with, she makes, yeah, if I say it, then you're going to be like, you just a crime behind then. Well, yeah, I am very empathic and I do feel deeply and I'm not going to be ashamed of it. It is one of my superpowers. But yes, it has been utilized just like, thank you, Spirit. Just like Spirit wanted to make it a point of how careful I was to use Malcolm in that word in the same sense, because that's how my body feels when I am this vulnerable, when I admit to my empathy. I've been bullied for it. I've been taunted and teased and even misused because of it. So yes, I'm hesitant. So that's the resistance also, again, within ourselves. Again, the throat chakra and the emotions and the hesitancy, la resistance of feeling them, of, again, going back to the beginning, of going and of feeling through the process. But Edith Piaf, right? Born into a family of street performers and raised in a brothel. Santo Señor. Piaf was the voice of the Parisian streets, singing of the drama, love, and loss of its inhabitants. Impossibly frail she was nicknamed the Little Sparrow. But grinding poverty combined with textbook deprivation and abused failed to crush or diminish her spirit. Speak, spirit. Do you hear what I'm saying? You know, now I'm hearing like Esther, you were born, you know, for such a time as this. Just like Edith was significant for her time period and her time period, just like Malcolm was for his, just like Martin, just like Kennedy, just like Jesus alayhi salam, just like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi, like Ibrahim, Musa, alayhi salam, any of these, you know, masters, Mother Mary, ascended masters that they were for their time period, and it was aligned in their astrology chart, and it was for their time. Like Esther, Hadassah in the Bible, you know, she was told by her uncle Mordecai, you was, you know, for such a time as this, you are, your presence, your giftings, your regeneration is for such a time as this. And it may not seem to you to be of grand scale because it isn't on a Martin or a Rosa Parks or on a Harriet Tubman level, right? Yet, I heard for some, yet, because it might not be acknowledged or validated by others, but in your community, in your family, whoever you encounter will be forever changed because of your regeneration. Do you understand that, beloved? You're not insignificant. Think again. You matter. We need you. This world needs you. And the beauty about Edith, as what I wanted to say also here was, typically with individuals that are so empathic, right? Something that wants to be diminished, dismissed, right? Relegated as weak, right? It is astonishing how those are the very individuals that would go through such abuse and trauma. I mean, can you even envision, you know, trigger warning, you know, and yeah, I should, Spirit said don't say it like that because some have. My apologies. But she was raised in a brothel. And I'm hearing some of us, it wasn't the brothel of, you know, one that we would see characterized on television like in Mexico. Listen, so many prayers right now to the women, men, and children right now in brothels. But for some of us, you know, the crack epidemic and even this opioid epidemic rendered many of us subject to atrocities like those that occur in brothels, right? And Edith, amazingly, even though in frame, even, right, physical frame, they, to the point where they named her the Little Sparrow, she was not able to be crushed or diminish her spirit. She had a voice capable of such power, tenderness, and pathos that it took her from the pre-war back streets of Paris to triumph at Carnegie Hall. Alhamdulillah, subhanallah. Piaf's life had all the drama of her songs, but whatever life threw at her, she would always pick herself up and find consolation in her art and the arms of her latest lover. But there's something, thank you, Sister Piaf. We appreciate you and we honor your legacy. Ashe. You know, what Spirit wants me to add on to that is the fact that individuals you would think that have gone through so much trauma and turmoil would then become these bitter tyrants. Yet the irony of doing such work, and she was very instrumental, right? And if you want to get good, because it's another scene from a movie that I swear on everything I cry. Is on Madagascar movie. Non je ne regret rien. Right? No regrets. How do we say yeah, that was in 1960. That became like a revolutionary song for the French. No, I do not regret anything. Is a French song composed in 1956 by Charles Dumas, whose lyrics by Michael, but Edith Piaf's 1960 recording, right? Spent 7 weeks atop the French singles and airplay review charts. And when you watch that scene in Madagascar, you know, the woman animal catcher, that's very militaristic, very tyrannical, interestingly enough. You do not see any emotion in her any other time throughout that movie, but when she begins to sing, no, I do not have any regret, it moves you in that scene. You feel it. And that song was revolutionary for them, for many of the French, you know. So there's something, that also wants to be pointed out. Your gifting, your ability to not have turned raging mad. And yet the ability to alchemize into a regeneration of sorts, like the phoenix or the caterpillar, and bring such beauty to self and others. And now I'm hearing it is your responsibility to then, because remember, I kept hearing not only receive the messages, but then send them. Remember, it kept wanting me to say that. I couldn't understand it fully, but I do now, Spirit. Thank you. That just like these messages were sent to you, because my growth, my awakening, my regeneration was sent by oracles. Some of the oracles are here in YouTube land. Some of the oracles have been mentors, teachers, counselors, therapists, colleagues, family members, strangers that gave a word from on high, that aided me. So, you know, and this is not to guilt trip anyone, but there is this sense of what could be characterized, right? Because we all have to pay, you know, do things at our own. This is a simple nudging. And I'm believing what I'm hearing is that cycle has closed as a 10. You know, you are more than capable. You know, you're not like those vigilante, those authorities that are inadequate. But you can be, I'm hearing, wow. Don't allow yourself to then be categorized as those authorities, those in power, who are not, who have become inadequate because they're too awakened, they're too zen to do anything. You know, now I'm hearing, do you take a candle or a light and hide it under a bushel? I may be saying that wrong. But, you know, now I'm hearing, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. You know, I'm going back to Mordecai and Esther. You know, he checked her. He's like, don't think, you know, you was picked and went to the palace and now live with the king and you wanted his concubine. So now you straight and you forgot. No, the very reason why you was even allowed to be in that position was for such a time as this. So yes, get the message out by any means necessary, right? And that is, again, I'm hearing both internally and externally. Via listening to your mind, body, spirit, emotions, right? Soul. And then being observant and ready to provide what is needed. Messages, right? Because now I'm seeing this as a lookout. Now I'm hearing Harriet Tubman, or I'm hearing, the Underground Railroad, right? And the reason why it was successful, there were different points and messages were sent and received via different I'm hearing vehicles, modes, right? They were, you know, a song would be sung, for an example, a certain scripture, certain lights. So you have to remain observant to see the signs. And to know when to move. And not to doubt, because you'll know how to move intuitively. It's already been imagined. Right? And imagine, I'm hearing image. And I'm hearing you were made in the image. It's already imprinted. You are the blueprint. Back to that seed that, you know, that earlier. Yes, thank you, Spirit. When I'm saying you were born already with everything. So was Edith. So was Michael. Wow, I said Michael. So was all of us. It has always been faded. I think that's it. I think that is the message for today, that could no longer be contained in a bottle. And Spirit is there, and because I brought several decks out to okay. So for those of you who have to go, because it is already 1:19:03, it is a long message. But for those of you who would like to further investigate and kind of just address a specific, hone in on a specific feeling or sentiment or mental or emotional area, to give you further, because you know you may be feeling, okay, I know I am regenerating, or I have been able to alchemize and rise like the phoenix. I know that it is for myself and for a higher purpose, right? But I need clarity and direction. And I just heard, your pain is your power. right? Confirmation. Interesting. So I'm getting a couple things with this. For some, it's as literal as, maybe for some of you, you want to be a yoga instructor or a physical or personal trainer. And now I'm hearing even a coach, right? Like similar to like a life coach or inspirational speaker or motivator. Definitely a leader. But then I'm also hearing, the best way, because I would not be able to identify specifically for all that may be watching, and we're so different, hence our fingerprints, right? That we're different for a reason, hence our astrology chart is different for a reason. Ooh, unique. Yeah, and that was confirmation again. The best way to tap into yours specifically is to align yourself, right? To get into this, here again, this Zen state, this flow. And for many of you, it'll be different ways you get into that. For some of us, it's through exercise. For some of us, it's through quiet time. For some of us, it's through music. And if you're like me, ADHD, if you want to categorize me as that, I take or I utilize or I have found that I can become pretty bored of one or the other if it becomes too routinish. So I listen to my body and my spirit, and then based on that, ascertain what I need for that day, and back full circle. Today maybe I need some music, Lord. My mind needs some music. Tomorrow may mean I need a reading. I need a walk in the park. But to tune into yourself, your star player, which is you, your greatest masterpiece, which is you, and you will know exactly how to move, how to flow. This hurt is easy, beloved. My child, I keep wanting, but I don't want to call anybody a child, disrespect. But that's what I keep hearing in my mind. It is fated. It is in your stars. You are this stardust on this floating rock, orbiting floating rock, right? I'll never get any buzz, I promise y'all. So for these things to be coming through like this confirmation. So, again, it's like the seed, the acorn seed, or any, is going to produce who after itself in its own image is in you. It's inevitable, right? You cannot, I'm hearing for some of you, like, to tell you can't fuck this up, even if you try. And my whole dome just lit up. The left, the right, the back, the frontal lobe, everything. The medulla, medusa, I don't know. Amygdala, what I'm trying to say, but yeah, so just tap in. And you are the answer. You are your oracle. And just at the bottom of the deck, this beautiful Muslima, alhamdulillah, dancing, right? Which, interestingly enough, to some tyrants, that would be a no-no, right? Interesting. Thank you, Spirit. That is so beautiful. And it's a confirmation for me because I really do process through music. It is vital for me. And then under that, look, That's serving others. A day at the beach. Reading a book. Drawing a little picture up at the top. Oh, I just got chills when I said that, right? These are things that you can do, I'm hearing, to weather the storms, right? When it becomes cloudy and the thunder rings so loud in your ear that you become afraid, right? Yeah, going back to what I said about me needing different modalities. Like I incorporate all these things. When I feel this fear, because I feel it, right? That cloud can be very much depression. The thunder can be very much anxiety, and the rain can be, a floodgate of emotions that incorporate for a lot of us shame. So fear and shame can be best combated utilizing these other practices. And you are assured triumph. You're not assured that you'll never feel these things. That's not what Spirit is saying. But that you continue to regenerate and address things like fear and shame via some of these modalities that then assist you in your regeneration process over and over again, right? For a lifetime. Rest. You deserve rest. Play. It's okay to go out into I'm hearing for some of y'all, go swing at a park. Don't worry about how foolish you may look. Go to a park. Yep. Your 50-year-old self. And go sit in a swing and swing. And hear that song. You send me swinging. Oh, you send me swinging. Yeah. Again, these things address all this stuff, right? To help address when you feel, you was unjustly, things didn't go your way, or, this feeling that one gets when, we don't get what we wanted at the time. When we want to fight, right, with others. And when we get frustrated and want to just rip up the vision, right? And/or feelings of brokenness of our homes or our past families wants to come up. You are this butterfly. All right, now go out and pollinate these flowers. Do they pollinate? Did I just make that up? Celebrate your life. There will be boo-boos along the way, but they heal. And they heal best in community. Wow. And that's it. That was the message. I don't know, lately Spirit has had me going through, doing just a draw through whichever little other deck I use or incorporate with the reading. But I am so grateful for this message this morning. This was today's daily check-in for today, the 20th of December. I thought it was imperative and very important, specifically in particular because of, for me, placing emphasis on this 12-21 portal, 12-12-21 portal. And then 24, right, being 2024 being 12-12. But yeah, there's some things I need to focus on in the next couple of days. I want to complete my vision board. There's some cleansing I would like to do to both my home and myself, and yeah, So, you know, I encourage you to do the same. Feel out what your body may need, and then move accordingly. What your home may need, what your space may need, and move accordingly. And not for everybody is an action like what I'm taking. For some, I'm hearing is rest. I'm seeing that card with the bed. Just rest. Right? For the remainder of this port, just rest. Your body needs that rest to continue to regenerate, because you will be back out in the community. And I just heard Lauryn Hill, ready or not, here I come. You can't hide, hide, hide. I'm gonna find you. Yeah. Okay, beloved. Once again, I want to thank our guides, our ancestors, and beautiful spirit for this beautiful, profound opportunity to check in with ourselves, our mind, our body, our souls, and our spirits, right? Emotionally, mentally, physically. And illuminate for us where it would behoove us to, you know, I just heard dig a little deeper from Princess and the Frog. But as always, you know, may the symphony between your light and shadow, right, always be the compass in the creation of your greatest masterpiece, beloved, which is you. You are that greatest masterpiece. And as masterpieces tend to do, they inspire others. On that note, please stay safe. And until next time, Ashe, Amen, and Amin.